and thank you for joining us today for this Enjoying a Bountiful Harvest webinar. You'll enjoy it. It's certainly very timely because we have fall happening right around us and cooler weather and so many wonderful foods to choose from. I am Joanne Kinsey, and I am the Family and Community Health Sciences Educator in Atlantic and Ocean Counties in New Jersey, and we welcome you. Welcome to the Live Well and Stay Healthy Wellness webinar series brought to you by the Family and Community Health Sciences Department of Rutgers Cooperative Extension. I will serve as your host today, and I'm so excited to be hosting this presentation on enjoying a bountiful harvest, certainly a topic that we can all benefit from. Before we move on, I wanted to go over a few webinar logistics. First of all, this webinar is being recorded. And as participants, you are all staying muted and your videos are turned off. Please post any questions you may have for the presenter in the chat or Q&A box, and we will have time at the end of the program to answer those questions. Also, I wanted to quickly review the cooperative extension structure for those of you who aren't familiar with it. Rutgers Cooperative Extension is in partnership between the Board of County Commissioners, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We have faculty or staff in 20 of the 21 counties in New Jersey. We are composed of 3 departments, including Agriculture and Natural Resources, 4-H Youth Development, and the Department of Family and Community Health Sciences, or FCHS. FCHS provides outreach in New Jersey and beyond on topics related to nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. We hope you'll visit our website for nutrition information and wellness-related resources and follow us on social media. So now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Rachel Tansey. Rachel Tansey is a Senior Extension Associate for the Family and Community Health Sciences Department under Rutgers Cooperative Extension in Monmouth County. Ms. Tansey earned her bachelor's degree in nutritional sciences from Rutgers University and a master's degree in holistic health from Georgian Court University. Ms. Tansey works with community partners to educate residents on various topics centered around nutrition, wellness, and healthy well-being. Her primary concentration areas are community health education, food safety, nutritious eating, self-care, and healthy lifestyles with an emphasis on wellness in the workplace for employees as well as their employers. Today, we will discuss the bountiful harvest that New Jersey has to offer, learn about the health benefits and ways to prepare some of your favorite foods. So without further ado, I will hand things off to Rachel.
Thank you, Joanne. So welcome everyone. I appreciate you all attending and being here with us today. We will be discussing, as Joanne mentioned, our bountiful harvest, and part of our Live Well, Work Well, Stay Healthy wellness webinars. Each month we do a different topic on the first Tuesday of each month, and this month being autumn, that we really wanted to kind of touch on some of the harvest fruits and vegetables that are available to us. So one of the things that I'm not sure we really realize when we are picking the foods and choosing what to eat, maybe for dinner, or, if you're like me sitting at work, you think about, the 1,000 things you have to do when you get home, and then, what are you going to prepare? And oftentimes those things are based on your 5 senses. So you really need all 5 senses to some degree to really enjoy the full experience of eating and a very healthy, nutritious meal. So, for instance, we look at the food. If you look at the food and it looks like, I don't know, I always use the reference like baby food, where it's just like a green mess and you just look at it and you're going, ugh, that doesn't look so good. Sometimes though, let me say that reference, split pea soup would look delicious because that's what it's supposed to look like. But it's your sight that gives you that first initial, experience of whether or not it's something that entices you. Then maybe the touch, if you're eating a sandwich of some sort and it's nice soft bread, that would be great. Or picking up an apple and having nice firmness to the apple, that would be enticing to your appetite as well. Hearing, maybe not the food itself, or maybe something could be sizzling, and that's a great sound to hear if you're looking for that, maybe a fajita or something like that. Or the crunch of the apple is a hearing aspect that we really want to hear. We don't want a soft kind of mealy apple. We want that nice crisp crunch. And then when you go into your taste and smell, these are the two that most people often associate, because I'm sure we've all had some type of, sinus congestion or something where you can't smell very well. And with that, you kind of can't taste very well either. So, or as a kid, we used to, hold our nose if we had to eat something we didn't like, because then we couldn't really taste it the same. So taste and smell really do go hand in hand, and they often offset each other, one way or another. If something doesn't smell great, you kind of automatically think it's not going to taste great. Could not be true, but you sort of associate the two a little bit more so. So really, it's important that our five senses really play a role into the foods we're choosing, the foods we're creating and enjoying to eat. So getting into the harvest, why should we eat these fruits and vegetables? I think a lot of this information you might be very well aware of, but we really want to reinforce what you may already know, and hopefully, teach you something that maybe you didn't know or weren't fully sure on. So in general, our fruits and vegetables are really healthy for us. If you think about a rainbow, I'm sure you've all heard that saying before, to eat a rainbow. You really want to have a variety of colors, because you will have different nutrients from each different color of fruits and vegetables. So overall, your general health will really be improved to help fight things, not only like cancers and heart disease and illnesses such as those, but even just general immune system health for just your average common cold, or, even just maybe, if you get a little cut on your hand, helping that heal properly. It is very important to make sure that you have good general health from mostly fruits and vegetables. A plant-based diet is really important in many ways, as well as an overall variety and having everything in moderation. So our fruits and vegetables are often very high in fiber, which helps lower our calories if they are higher in fiber, because you tend to feel full longer. You can eat a sweet potato, which I think potatoes sometimes get a bad rep. It's sort of one of those vegetables that are healthy for us in moderation. We don't want to take it and, take a regular russet potato and think that you're going to make French fries and it be healthy any longer. It's not necessarily so. Baked potato would be great, or sweet potato baked would be a great option to have for the potatoes and get the full vitamins and minerals. A lot of our fruits and vegetables contain vitamin A, which I often tell the young ones that I work with that this is your superpower. The idea of having night vision. So if we've all woken up in the middle of the night and you have to maybe make your way to the bathroom and you can't really see very well, but your eyes start to adjust because you don't want to turn on the light, that is really based on, most of your vision at night comes from the vitamin A intake that you have and the beta carotene that helps your eyes stay healthy and your skin stay healthy. So that's really important as well. Our vision might deteriorate as we age anyway, but when, as I said, I tell the kids they have superpower, that they're able to just do that and see like that. Much potassium is very important from our fruits and vegetables as well, and that helps maintain our healthy blood pressure, as well as vitamin C. We're all aware of things like oranges having a high vitamin C, but things like, strawberries or spinach, they also contain vitamin C as well. And that's important not only for our immune, but as I mentioned earlier, with the healing of cuts or something, a wound or some sort on our body. So our skin health, and then our teeth and our gums as well. And generally speaking, fruits and vegetables tend to be lower in fat, sodium, and calories. So they are an overall good choice. As I was mentioning, some of the health benefits of fruits and vegetables, they contain something called phytochemicals, or, phytonutrients, antioxidants, things like that. These are, even though it's spelled P-H-Y, I like to say F-I-G-H-T. They help fight many of those kind of cancer causing, heart disease, things that go on, or possibly prevent some of those things and improve our health and overall well-being by being such fighters. And these are often found in the many colorful varieties of our fruits and vegetables. So they enhance that immune response. So as I mentioned, the color of the rainbow and the color of our foods, not only having a variety in the color, but having a variety of each one within that as well. So don't just eat, red strawberries and that's the only red you're going to eat. Have a variety, have some red beets and have some raspberries and have, other things in that same color palette so that you're getting a variety of the nutrients and the health benefits of each thing. These phytochemicals also help repair any of the cell damage and things like that that might come along from toxic compounds. So they're very helpful for us to maintain, not only for things that we can control illness wise, but also things we can't, like external, experiences that we have in the environment and things like that. So eating a rainbow, here, each group, I kind of outlined some of the health benefits of each one. So our red group typically will be good for our heart health, memory, urinary tract, and most of them are all some types of cancers. You think about urinary tract and cranberries, you often hear drink cranberry juice. Well, you need to make sure you're drinking that 100% cranberry juice because those cocktails that they create are oftentimes a lot of sugar and they don't do the same thing as that 100% cranberry juice. But, the memory enhancement and things like that comes from those antioxidants and those phytochemicals, as I was mentioning, to have in the variety of the colors. So we need to make sure that we have some of different colors and different varieties. So just to go over a few, our purple and blue group, purple peppers. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that, but they do exist, purple peppers. Eggplant, you're looking at the skin variety and trying to, have different types of colors. I mean, yes, white eggplant is great as well. Purple cabbages when you can get that. And right now would be a great time to have that for the harvest because purple cabbage is kind of hardy. We could probably find it all year round, but it's sort of out there right now. Our yellow and orange group I mentioned earlier with our beta carotene and vitamin A. So that's the night vision, immune system, heart health. Green groups, a lot of these tend to get, you think greens, you think salads. However, we have kiwis and grapes and honeydews all, in that same group that give you a lot of vitamins and nutrients as well. And then white group, a lot of people don't realize that we have so many fruits and vegetables in our white group, but we do. And they are very important for our health as well and give us a lot of phytonutrients and good nutritional benefits. So what I wanted to just touch on here is, what are we looking for? We have many ways to purchase fruits and vegetables. So what's best, fresh, frozen, or canned? That's always a question we get. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes, all of the above. However, what I'd like to say here is that fresh, you're looking at the fruits and vegetables that are in season right now. So whether it be winter, spring, summer, or fall, the ones that are fresh are going to be at their peak season and that they were just harvested so that they have the most nutrients and the best tasting varieties around. So we know in New Jersey, we're really well known for our tomatoes, and those we want to have, summer to maybe September, ish, could be a little bit overlap into October, but those are like the most delicious, best tomatoes around. You try to get a tomato, Jersey fresh tomato in, January, it's definitely not going to taste the same. So the tomatoes that we purchase in the store are probably being shipped in from someplace else. So not that they're bad for us, they are perfectly healthy to eat. However, they may not have that same taste and flavor that you're looking for from those ones that came in season. So therefore, as I was mentioning, our harvest of New Jersey crops right now, I'll go through the list in a few slides here, but there's many things available that would be great options to pick from because they are readily available during the autumn and fall months. Now, frozen, also a great option because there are regulations that are mandated that if an item is frozen, fruit or a vegetable that is, it must be frozen at its peak season. So oftentimes, let's use peas, for example. peas have a very short window of time where they are at peak season and have that optimal taste and nutrition that we really are looking for when we're having our little spring peas. However, I'm sure we've all seen in the frozen case, spring peas, petite peas, however they're packaged, they are abundant because they pick them right at that time when they are peak, and then they freeze them real fast. They'll do like a flash frozen type of thing so that they maintain that crispness. And when you're using them in your foods, even if it's out of season, you're getting all of those benefits as well. So here's the tricky one: canned. Not necessarily bad for us. I think sometimes they get a bad rap as well, except if you see in this picture right here, the middle section where it says French style green beans, it says no salt added. So we are looking for canned items that are either low sodium or no sodium, which is salt, or we can often get our canned fruits, which we want to look at packed in water or packed in 100% juice. You do not want the high fructose corn syrups that are often packed in or anything of the sort, because that does allow for the nutrition value to change, because now they've been soaked in either a lot of salt or a lot of sugar, which actually offsets all that nutritional value that you're looking for that fruit or vegetable. So that's why cans, you just have to read the label and always make sure you're looking for either no salt or sugar or low sodium, and then pick the items like 100% fruit juice or 100% water. So just thinking about the fall ahead and our bountiful harvest and what we can really bring to the table. So in New Jersey, we have quite a variety of crops, and they're really readily available for us. You can either do some pick your owns, or you could just get them at farm stands. And oftentimes now you'll see in many of our food stores, it'll say Jersey Fresh with a little sign, and you'll know that they were harvested in New Jersey. So in most cases, whatever you are purchasing and wherever you are purchasing them, you want to make sure that they look right. So your eyes will tell you, even if the shape is not quite right, have kind of like a weird looking carrot or, pumpkin that just is strange looking. As long as the item looks unblemished, it doesn't really have, a moldy, quirky kind of smell. Mushrooms, let's just say, they do have sort of an earthy smell, but you don't want them to smell moldy. So there is a difference. You don't want them to be, overly wet or moist. You want to sort of know which item you're looking at and know how it should look. You don't want something that's maybe sat around for a while, and that's why it's starting to be overly ripened, and therefore it's almost, on its last days of being eaten. So those are the things where you're using your sight. Maybe you're touching, whatever the item may be. You don't want to pick up an apple and your fingers kind of go through it. You want it to have a nice firmness to it. And that way you'll know that that item can last a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be eaten right then and there that day, but it will last a few days into your, week, so that you'll have the option to eat it whenever you need it. So this is our seasonality chart that I was mentioning earlier. So if you look in the blue sections of both sides, you'll see October, November, and December. So being that those are our fall months, that's kind of where we're focusing today. And here is a variety of many things that are available in New Jersey. So if you do find, let's say, a farm stand, or in the store, as I mentioned, the Jersey Fresh, those are the times that those are at their peak season. So there's plenty of a bountiful harvest that we can find in the fall months, which have many nutritional benefits and a huge variety of color and those phytochemicals and everything we're looking for. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail here, and then at the end we're going to go over maybe some options on how to create new things out of these foods that maybe were not normally part of our diet. So maybe apple picking is a nice outside activity at this point. Apples are still in season in New Jersey, and there are many, many varieties. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's over 7,000 varieties grown throughout the world. In the United States, about 2,500, and New Jersey has, I don't know, I think about 1,000 or so grown. But we have about 30 of the most popular varieties here in New Jersey readily available. but in our close areas, there are quite a few, and the top producing states are Washington over across the way, but then New York, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are all over here. So outside of our 30 here in New Jersey, I'm sure there are plenty of other varieties in those states that are close to us as well. So the colors change as well, the variety, some come in yellow, you know, you have a lot of golden apples, you have the pink ladies, pink apples, green and red are typically our other shades that we are known for, that you look for in the store, but then you see many, many shades in between. So apples can be a great option. And I was just looking today, even now, you know, how many different nutrients and I guess, you know, different varieties the apples are available to us and the different flavors and tastes that we all have. I'm sure everyone has their favorite and all for different reasons. You know, if you're going to be baking an item, you tend to pick a more sour or tart, maybe like a Granny Smith or something. If you're eating it just as a snack, you might pick a little sweeter version. It all depends on really what you're looking for to pick your apples and which ones might be best for which thing you're going to do with it. So you know what they say, an apple a day. Depending on what we're using them for, as I was mentioning, you know, an apple, if you really can be a great thirst quencher, it can give you a nice boost of energy if it's, you know, that 3:30 slump of the day where we're all a little bit sluggish and, you know, been working so hard that we need a little pick me up. Have an apple. That nice crisp crunchiness when eaten raw really does provide a lot of energy and helps get you through that last portion of the day. It's a wonderful snack, roughly speaking, very low in calories, depending on the size, of course, but still low in calories. I can't imagine even the largest of apples having a huge amount of calories. No fat, cholesterol, or sodium, and a good amount of fiber, considering, you know, it's just a small little apple, and that really helps our digestive tract and our body stay on track and helps us stay full longer, so that if we're getting through to dinner time, you know, that apple really has a nice benefit for us overall. So just some snack ideas we often talk about, maybe, you know, some apple juice or cider. We have a lot of places around that do allow and create those. They allow tastings and then they create, you know, different types of varieties. They might have different flavors. It's great for hydration, but we're really looking for apple juice to say 100%, because if it does not, there's often probably other sugars added. So apple juice being a great source to have some apple, just a sweetness of apple in your diet, it's still a great option, but we want to make sure it is 100%. Another easy snack in the evening maybe is cut up an apple, maybe in slices, put it on a plate, sprinkle it with a little cinnamon or like that pie spice that you can find, put it in the microwave for a couple seconds, and it's very similar to an apple pie. It's very reminiscent. You're going to have the smell, you're going to have that warmth, you're going to have all those senses kind of going if you're just looking for something kind of warm in the evenings and wanting to have something a little different, but staying on the healthier side. And then other options as well, you can make easily option homemade applesauce or apple slices with some type of nut butter or something like that as well for a little extra protein. So pumpkins. Pumpkins really do pack a big punch. They're very powerful and they are loaded with different nutrients. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can read them here on the screen. And they're very low in calories for considering 1 cup of pumpkin. I often think here, you know, I've made things with true pumpkins from the harvest and I've made things from the can, and both are delicious. It just depends, again, which one you are looking for. Canned versus fresh, it just, you are looking for the 100% canned pumpkin, not the, I think it's listed as like a pie mix. You really are looking for just the pumpkin puree. That's really where you have the option of doing what you want with it. If you happen to be making a pie, you can add maybe your different types of sweetener if you need the sweetener, or no sweetener at all, and you can make, you know, something of a casserole or something like that. In our house, we love the seeds. We love to carve our pumpkins and pull out the seeds and rinse them and just simply dry them a bit and then put them in the oven, you know, roasting them. And we've done it plenty of different ways where we've added different seasonings on top to give them different flavors. Sometimes they've had a little spice, sometimes they've had a little salty sweet, you know, it all just depends on our mood, but that is a wonderful snack and you still are getting many nutrients there as well. And it will curb that craving for that salty sweet, that salty crunch where, oftentimes you might grab a bag of chips. You actually can grab a handful of these roasted seeds and have a very healthful snack. Okay, so I'm going to move on here. Our pumpkins and squashes and gourds, all of the above, really do have a great immune system boosting power. They have lots of nutrients and vitamins, as I was mentioning earlier, with the beta carotene, vitamin C, vitamin A. All of those are really important for our immune system and keeping us healthy, and then also helping fight any of those germs that are out there that we're trying to not have, or if you happen to be sick, helps you get better. There are many, varieties, and you can make many different items, whether you're looking for, sugar pumpkins, or just like I said, the carving pumpkin where we do these seeds. There are different varieties out there for many different reasons and different ways to create whatever it is you're looking for. So the calories in a pumpkin or gourd or squash are quite low, helping you feel fuller longer. And again, they help our eyes and possibly reduce the risk of cataracts and macular degeneration as we age. They also help our heart. So a great source of potassium helps regulate our blood pressure to reduce that risk of stroke and heart disease. Every little bit counts. So every step we take, even if it's just one small little change or introducing a different variety of snacking that has, healthful benefits, does make a difference. So I'm not asking everyone to, change their diets completely, but the more fruits and vegetables that you can input into your daily activities in your diet is a great way to start. Lots of cancer fighting nutrients and antioxidants, and also helping us build strong bones. So the calcium that we may have and then create from the vitamin D that is created from the sun helps build our strong bones and potentially defend against rheumatoid arthritis as well. So some of our harvest is also green, as I mentioned earlier. So what about those greens? They are many, many abundant here in the autumn months. Typically, we just think lettuces. However, we have kale, which is essentially a lettuce, but broccoli, cabbage, dandelion, other greens, arugula, things of that nature. Very high in A, C, E, K, and also other things like iron, potassium, magnesium, helping keep our bodies healthy and strong. So overall, we need all of these nutrients and minerals and many varieties because we need to have different things to keep our bodies healthful and fighting against all of the, cancers and illnesses, and just keeping us aging healthfully as well. So very good for water intake. Oftentimes, if you think about lettuces, they're very, wet if you just kind of let them sit. They're great for extra water, and they help provide a bit of our hydration. It's still important to drink water. However, that's added bonus, and the fiber helps slow that digestion, as I keep mentioning, to keep us full longer. Lots of vitamin C in our greens as well. I mentioned spinach earlier, about 28 milligrams of vitamin C in just a handful of spinach. A spinach salad is a couple of handfuls right there of spinach, and you would have quite a bit of vitamin C to help you through the day and fight off different things as well. Vitamin K, that's responsible for the clotting of our blood. So it really helps slow the bleeding process if you get cut or scraped. And a handful of spinach contains about 482 micrograms of vitamin K, which is great and very helpful for us as well. As I keep mentioning, the iron helps move our oxygen throughout our body and in and out of our lungs, and needed for your overall energy levels as well. If we're low in iron, we tend to be kind of sluggish and fatigued. So it's really important to make sure we're getting enough throughout the day as well. And then the calcium. So root vegetables, I think sometimes we don't really think about them too often, as I mentioned earlier about the potatoes, but we have beets and carrots, rutabagas and turnips. All of these are very healthful, wonderful root vegetables, readily available right now. I'm sure you can find them in any store, and oftentimes some of the farm stands and different kind of local markets right now as well. So our root vegetables are very, very rich in nutrients as well, fiber, antioxidants, low in the calories, kind of a lot of the same, really good for folate, or they are great complex carbohydrates. carbohydrate where, our body is able to process that and use it for energy. And also the beta carotene, as I mentioned, that turns into vitamin A. Our bodies kind of help that process along, and that promotes our eye and our immune health as well. It's the carotenoids. Those are the beta carotenes. Those are the antioxidants. All of these things, these carotenoids, are what you're seeing in the brightly colored fruits and vegetables. So those, as I keep mentioning, the eating a rainbow, the more colorful, the more variety you have, the better chances of having different nutrients and vitamins and minerals throughout your body and helping you be healthful. So I challenge everyone to maybe try something new. We're going to go through a few things here, and I'm hoping that maybe something intrigues you or you come up with something on your own. It would be great if you were able to try a new fruit or vegetable, maybe each week, if you can find something new. Make it a challenge, and maybe kind of have something with your family or friends that, somebody creates something and you're willing to try it, or, just create something new and make it fun and exciting. A very quick recipe, because, we all like a little dessert, maybe doing a quick pumpkin pudding. So, we see those instant pudding mixes in the store all the time. So maybe we just take the vanilla instant pudding mix, add our milk as it would, and add some pumpkin puree. Now, again, I have the recipe listed here because it will probably be a little bit different ratio than what the box actually says, because you're adding the puree, and that is a bit water-based. It will have a lot of water in there. So adding a little teaspoon or so, you can add more if you like, you can add a little less, of the pumpkin pie spice, gives it a delicious flavor. Refrigerate it and you're good to go. So that's a great way to enjoy more pumpkin in your diet and have all of those nutrients in there as well. A roasted root vegetable. Down here on the bottom, you can actually see the link because there is a video over here on the right that you'd be able to watch. This is great with our root vegetables, as I was mentioning. We are having here carrots, parsnips, sweet potatoes, a lot of different variety. You can create your own, and just this gives you the steps of kind of roasting them and getting them kind of softer so that you're able to puree them and make them into a soup. Using a low sodium chicken stock or vegetable stock would be best to kind of give that broth a thinner, the vegetables a thinner consistency with the broth. But you can kind of do whatever you like. You can add seasonings. You can add maybe some, ginger if you wanted. You can add some cumin to give it a warmth, some cinnamon, however you prefer the taste and flavor, really would be a great option as well. But this is sort of a nice hearty base soup that you can pretty much serve with anything. This is a salad for the harvest, for the fall months, that kind of is a meal in and of itself. It has quinoa, which is a high protein source plant vegetable. We made it here in the picture with butternut squash. However, you can also use acorn squash. You're basically going to roast either of the squashes. I have that listed here over in the instructions. And while that is roasting, you would bake, you would make your lentils and the quinoa according to the package. So whatever type you buy, green lentils, they need to be cooked a little bit longer than red, so you would have to read your package, and you want to cook them slightly, a little al dente, because as you eventually mix all of the items together, they might soften up a bit, but not really too much. And then we served ours over arugula. However, kale would be a great option here as well, because it's a very hearty, dark green that could work. If you are going to serve it, immediately, you can even do some field greens, you can do spinach, whichever you like. If you're going to serve it for, later on or the next day, I would recommend more of an arugula or kale that's a little heartier, because as the dressing sits, it may get soggy. So it's better to have a heartier green there. Having some toasted almonds gives you a bit of protein there and other benefits with heart health. You can basically pick whatever cheese. We chose to use feta here, but I'm also a big fan of blue cheese to put in here because I like that different variety of flavor. You have a little sweetness with your butternut squash. You have the arugula that's a little peppery. So then I like, to offset different flavors. Having the cranberries goes nicely. And then we created this dressing because, in the fall months, I sort of, think oranges more than I do citrus like lemons and limes. So we created this dressing with garlic. You can kind of decide if you want to omit it or not, but it gives it a nice little extra flavor with the orange juice and a little bit of honey and the salt and pepper with the olive oil. So it's a very nice salad that you can serve. Essentially, as I mentioned, it's kind of a meal in and of itself, depending on how much you're eating, because you have quite a bit of variety here and a lot of good hearty nutrients as well. A roasted beet hummus. In our house, we love beets, so we tend to roast our beets and just eat them right away. Like we can't even get past that. So, one of the varieties that I would like to try one of these days is to make this hummus, which I know Joanne has created, our host today, and it is delicious. You also incorporate some chickpeas as well, which gives you a whole different variety with the hummus. And this does not need, typical hummus typically has tahini in it, and you do not need it for this recipe, which is great because you can have all of these things on hand. They even now sell beets, if you were to buy them in a can, again, looking for low sodium or packed in water or something of the sort. But if you do buy them from, a fresh place, I would just definitely recommend, if you've never dealt with beets before, your hands turn very red. So just doing it over a surface that, either line it with some towels or something like that. But this is a delicious hummus, a great snack you can have with a variety of vegetables, or, just have as a side, maybe even put it on a sandwich as the, condiment instead of maybe mayonnaise or something like that. And it's a great different texture, different taste that goes, and it's very delicious as well. So our autumn squash soup, I've created this many, many, many times. And this is the recipe that I've sort of adapted to be my favorite. Here, it sort of came to be because I had some things on hand and I wanted to make a soup on a cold winter day, or, fall day, which, these days our fall kind of has jumped up and down from being cold to warm. And so it's kind of nice to have a variety. But I did have butternut squash and I had roasted that down to make it a little softer. And as you roast any of our fruits and vegetables, it really brings out a different flavor and helps add a sweetness to them as well. So adding in the canned pumpkin, you could use fresh. Again, you would just have to roast that also. But if I used canned that day, because that's what I had on hand. And instead of any other type of liquids or overdoing it with too much broth or too much milk, I actually added in a little bit of apple cider, or that day I had apple cider, but I've also done it with juice, which I use sparingly because I don't want too much of the juice in there. But again, it's always 100%. And then adding in a little bit of 2% milk or even almond milk, that gives it a little bit nuttier kind of flavor, and it gives it a nice richness. I love it with curry powder. You can use a spicy curry or just a mild curry, and it gives it different flavors as well. So again, this is a wonderful soup that is just hearty, and it can sit in the fridge for a couple days and you have lunch ready. I've also froze it to have just ready for the, one day that I might need, I just pull it out of the freezer and put it into my saucepan and bring it up to a boil, and it's ready to go. This was just something, if you'd like to look it up, it was cute. We had done in one of our programs, we offered to show them how you can sort of create a cute little bowl out of some of those pumpkins. So this is not something I've done myself, but we were sort of showing how the soups can be served. And normally the soup doesn't even it just goes straight to the bowl and we're eating it. So, the cuteness factor is out. But if you were to have a dinner party or guests over, it would be really nice to show it in a presentation like this. So these are just some of the resources that are available from the presentation and different places that you can look through. Down here on the bottom, you'll see colorful videos at the Vimeo website and then the YouTube website as well. Those show not only many different recipes, but we also have our website and our YouTube channel that has different programs that have already been recorded, such as this, and therefore you can see other topics and options that you can watch some pre-recorded ones as well. Okay, so Joanne, I will hand it off to you.
Well, thank you, Rachel. What a really interesting presentation. I love all these recipes, and I think fall foods are so much fun to work with, and maybe we've inspired some people to give it a try, right?
So I hope